U.S. airstrikes in Iraq that began a month ago saved thousands of refugees trapped by ISIS on Mount Sinjar and stopped the ISIS advance on the Kurdish capital of Erbil. Scott Pelley is there tonight on assignment for 60 Minutes. Scott?
Bob, Kurdistan is a semi-independent region in northern Iraq. It has its own military called the Peshmerga, and today we found them eye to eye with ISIS. The ISIS advance stopped just short of Lieutenant Mohammed's bridge. That's the ISIS flag on one end and Mohammed's men on the other. Why is this bridge so important? This is the road to Kirkuk, he told us. Kirkuk is the gateway to Iraq's oil fields. Do you have orders to destroy this bridge if it comes to that? No, Mohammed said, the people will need the bridge. No one's going to take my bridge. He couldn't have said that a month ago when these troops were forced back toward the capital, Erbil. But now, the American air campaign means that ISIS can't mass its forces or move with any speed. Thanks to the U.S. airstrikes, the Peshmerga are now on the offensive. And eventually, the Peshmerga will be moving toward Mosul, which is an occupied city of more than 1.5 million people. These are the pictures coming out of Mosul these days. It is chaos, according to a doctor we found who is moving in and out of the city. We won't identify him for his safety. Mosul is like a big prison with limited water and gas, he told us. Electricity only shows up once every 2 days. The people have no work. There's a massive shortage of medicine. What are some of the rules in Mosul today that people have to live under because of ISIS? They control life, clothing, everything in a very harsh way, very strict, and very strict punishments. ISIS is posting those punishments online, boasting of mass executions of people who refuse to convert to its extremist view of Islam. Syed told us that last month, ISIS rounded up more than 100 men in his village and told them they were being taken to a refugee camp. It turned out to be a short trip to a mass grave. They told us to lie flat on the ground, he said, and then they started firing all kinds of guns. His leg was hit 3 times. A bullet grazed his neck. When those bullets began to hit you, you must have thought you were dead. When I was hit, I didn't want to make a sound because anyone who made a noise, they'd come over and shoot them in the head. When it was all over, Syed crawled out of the grave. Back at the bridge, Lieutenant Mohammed's men can't advance because they're lightly armed. Tonight, the Kurds are asking the White House for tanks and artillery to break lines like this. It could be a long commitment. War is like a bridge. Once you're on it, you can't get off until you see it through. Tonight, 4.5 million people live under ISIS control. U.S. Secretary of State John Kerry paid an unannounced visit to Baghdad today. He met with the new unity government there. Kerry announced that the United States will help fund a new Iraqi National Guard in the fight against ISIS. That's the news from Iraq tonight. With the rest of the world news, we'll go to Bob Schieffer back in New York.